Hi, everybody. My name is Val with Southwest Living with Val. This is the 5 acres that needs a lot of work. A lot of work. Um, this is the front fence. That's the northwest corner that you just saw. And this is coming along the front side. That's the opening. That's the gate that opens and shuts. And then to that first telephone pole, you'll see there is the northeast corner of the 5 acres. And it has a double gate down there. It's all fenced. The chain link is along the front. And then the no climb with barbed wire is along the perimeter of the sides in the south end. That's the house. It has a new roof. It's in good shape. It was built in 78. It's what they called a smart home back then. And that is to the east. Now that's the whole front side of the home. There's the gate, has a wheel, and then I'm going back to the west, and that telephone pole you see right there is the northwest corner. Lots of yucca. Those are yucca plants. They are they are the plant of the state of New Mexico. And a lot of bare ground with a lot of lava rocks in it. Little lava rocks, not real small, not real big. There is some foliage growing that's dried up. It's a lot of flowers grow. That goes down the west side of the house. You'll see some dead trees there too, and that's to the west. You'll see the fence up here when we get there. A lot of good sized rocks to do landscaping with. And a lot of mesquite trees. We have mesquite trees, and then a lot of them are small like bushes. It takes them a long time to grow into a tree. And there's a dead tree. These are those sappy trees. They have sap. I would like to take those out and then clean up that fence line, that little fence line that goes around the circle drive there. There's some dead mulberry trees there. There's the big yucca. Take those yuccas out over there, just next to the circle drive, the little pipe circle fence. And there's the home back there. Again, the west side. All that needs to be mowed, brushed down. I would like to grow as much natural plants to keep the ecosystem good. You want to let as many native plants grow as you can. You need some native plants growing. The mesquite certainly are native. And there's some big ones and some small ones. But with the brush that grows there and the flowers, I do believe I could have some good pasture mix for a steer in the back side here. And I could plant some grass and some pasture mix. Now I went to the front there. That's the north front, and it goes all the way down. You'll see that blue shed in the back there. That peak in the back there is right there, the blue shed right there is the far southwest corner. There's those trees from this side. Some of them have died. I don't want a lot of stuff that has to be watered. I want drought resistant. I mean, if I'm going to water, I want to water pasture to feed the steer and the chickens. But there is a lot of little lava rock around here because we have a volcano to the north of us. It's an old one. And then there's a lot of stuff that needs to be burnt or hauled off. We can burn. I will burn some things. You see those smaller mesquite trees? Take some of those out and clean it up. I may have to hire a tractor guy, save some money. But there is a lot. 5 acres is pretty good size. I'm telling you. I walked the whole thing and it was a pretty good walk. Just walking the perimeter. The fence is all good. It's fenced all the way around. There's the north again, zooming in on the front so you see how much land is right there. And there's the fence. That's the neighbor to there's 5 acres in between us. He has the 5 acres on the corner. And see, the fence is in pretty good shape. Some more stuff that's going to need to be hauled off. Some burn barrels. So I guess I could burn. But you see all those little lava rocks. Those little rocks. They're everywhere. Lava rocks. White quartz rocks. Some really neat rocks. Different kinds of rocks. But as you can see, the fence is in really good shape. There's some more trees, bush trees, and that's looking back towards the house. Now that tree is dead right there, but there is a hawk's nest up there, so I don't think I'll cut that down if the hawk comes back. And I know, say if you have chickens, you don't want a hawk, but he didn't bother the cats, so, or she. She did get a bunny rabbit though, but she just sits up there and watches me while I work in the backyard. And she had a little baby, and I got to watch the little baby fly off. I'm going to get a drone and I'll be able to go up there and look. If she comes back this year, we'll be able to get a picture. She might attack the drone, but she was a good mama. She watched that baby, and I got to watch the baby fly out of the nest, fly to the pine tree, and grow up and fly away. And now there's 2 holes here, so there's something living in there. They're pretty big. More stuff that can be burnt. A lot of stuff, not a lot of trash, just a lot of dead foliage or bushes or something like that. See, that's a pretty good sized hole. They're in there and they've closed off their opening. And then there's another one this way. See all those little lava rocks, little rocks everywhere. And there's the white quartz. The sun's shining on it in the wrong direction. So now I'm headed back down to take you to the southwest corner of the property. It's not too bad. If I could hire a tractor man, then they could clean a lot of this up, but they sure are expensive to hire a tractor man, I'll tell you. But I could do it in phases, a little bit each month. I'd love to have a tractor. That would be awesome. Maybe one day. Maybe someday. But see, there's a lot of mesquite bushes and trees, which they grow beans. This is the only pile of trash that I've seen on this side of the property. And it's not that much. A lot of wood, just a few things, but mostly brush growing, or the brush that grew and died during the summer, dried up during the summer. We haven't had rain, very much rain this year at all. We didn't have a monsoon season at all. We're at 4,635 feet, and it does snow here. It sticks sometimes. Now that was a big hole. There's a critter living in there. What kind? I have no idea. But there is definitely a critter living in there. Tell you what, a lot of critters. Bunny rabbits. But not as many bunny rabbits this year. There's some more rock. But see, the fence is in really good shape. It has steel post in the corner. That is the southwest corner, and that the blue shed is the neighbor behind me. And they have a fence on the other side of my fence. A lot of mesquites, which you can clean up around those, and you keep the tall ones, and it provides shade for your steer. But you want to clean out as much of it as you can and grow pasture mix, which you'll see there can be a good wide open area where the soil can be changed to where some good grass and pasture mix would grow for a steer or two, or some lamb, maybe a goat, a pig. See, that's a good size one. But that all needs to be brush hogged down. See, but you have big boulders like this, and you'd really have to be careful and look and find the big boulders, big rocks that can be used for landscaping. And you'll see how dry the ground is. You'll be able to see the ground is really dry. More quartz and another good size rock. And then there's one over here, another good size rock. That one had white veins in it. And then you see all those little rocks. This is a pile of wood. There is some green. You see green. The mesquite stay green. That's a pile of wood. And a little bit of trash, a frame, some brick. Look at all those lava rocks. But if you look out, you look behind there, there's a guy in the neighbor in the southwest corner, excuse me. But you see the mountains, the Twin Sister Mountains back there. That's another neighbor back there. This is cactus in the weeds. There were 3 cactus plants I found. I'll have to dig those up and make a cactus garden, just a small one. But you see how the mesquite stay green. Those are the Florida mountains in the background. A lot of good land, A lot of room to do some stuff with. And now I'm going along the fence line, the south fence line. That cactus is dead. The plane. I always couldn't see it in the lens, so I would have zoomed in on it. I zoom in on those planes and I catch them when they're spraying stuff out. That was a smaller twin engine plane, but I catch them planes spraying stuff out of their plane all the time. I have videos. And then a little bit of purdy and all that dead. Purple flowers, a little bit of purdy. They grow everywhere though. In the springtime, flowers will grow everywhere around here. Wildflowers. There's the neighbors to the east. Just some dry brush. See, that tells me that I'd be able to get some good pasture mix growing there. The soil will have to be worked and doctored and played with, but it's going to have to be disced up and composting put on it. But now I'm coming up to there's another big rock. See, there's a good-sized mesquite tree there. And now coming up to the southeast corner. Right there's the southeast corner. The steel pole right there. And the fence is in really good shape. The tree, that's a pretty good-sized tree, which could provide shade in the mornings. Need to be trimmed up. The fence line needs to be cleaned up a little bit. But all in all, it's not too bad. It's just getting my hiney out there and getting it done. So there is the neighbors to the east. They've been neighbors with Mom and Dad forever. Now, my fence is in good shape. Their fence on the other side's fallen down. That's their fence. That's not my fence. My fence is in really good shape. It's held up really good. And I found a couple of cactus. They're purple. You can't really see in this video shot, but look how dry that ground is. See how cracked it is? And we just got some rain day before yesterday, but we haven't got enough rain. There's been years that we got so much rain. It was so nice. Everything grew so well. There were a lot of wildflowers. The poppies boomed at the base of the Florida mountains. That was back in 2016. Rolls of chain link. But otherwise, it's not too bad. It really isn't too bad. You could have a barn back there. Heck, you could rent it out for someone to live off, learn how to live off grid. They could come up and get water. Put a little off-grid place back there. I mean, it's really neat. All these dead trees and stuff need to be burnt. Once that's all cleared off, can you imagine how nice that'll look? Now I'm going to show you the horse. He always looks at me when I walk. He's so purty. Isn't he purty? She has 3 males in pens there, but on the east side over there, she's got to have at least 10 females. And they can run around the south side there, and I see them running in the morning when they're nice and frisky, and they can go all the way over to the east side. We take care of our horses when they go on vacation, make sure they got water, check on them every day. So there's the shed in the back. And there's even the fence is in good shape. There's a good area. That would make a good chicken area. There's a good place to build a barn for any kind of animal. If you wanted a steer, a goat, a sheep, pig. That's a big mesquite tree there. That's taken a long time to grow. It's huge, but it provides shade. So, and then you're headed back towards the west there. You see that there. And then all that. And then the east. But there's the back side of the shed. Another plane. Squirrel, plane. And then you come along the east side of the property. It's a pretty good area behind that shed. That shed could be turned into a chicken coop. And they could free range. I would love for them to free range. And I've had chickens free range in Arizona. And when hawks showed up, they hid. I've seen roosters play dead. Thought, oh my God, they're dead. And then they wake up, they play possum. So there's a pretty good sized shed. It's got to be at least a 12 by 8. And then another yucca and mesquite. And then the fence comes up a little bit there. Pine tree that's dead. And the other one's hanging in there. There's the biggest mesquite. You'll see to the left there. There's the back of the house. And there's a backyard that's fenced off from the rest of the 5 acres. A little garden shed that I thought about turning into a chicken coop. The house will need painted. The roof is new. But that's the biggest mesquite tree and the biggest yucca on the property. And that's another good size one. And then there is some stuff that needs to be hauled off here, so I'll have to get a dumpster. That old freezer now, there was a little shed there and I traded it for the beast, the rototiller. And when they took that little shed up, there was a big rattlesnake under there that went underneath the freezer. So, and there are snakes around here. I didn't see any today. I think it's too cool for them there. See, and that needs to be cleaned out all around the side, and then you can drive all the way around the backyard to the shed. You put your barn there, a hay shelter. So then I'm coming up here to my pumpkin plant. This is the first year I grew pumpkins, and I've got about 5 or 6 of them on there. They're just turning orange. They've got blooms on them still. I don't know if I'll show you one here, but there's at least 4 of them in there. They're pretty good size too. Now see, I switched to carnivore, so I will be growing herbs and garlic and things like that. I won't be growing as many vegetables. But I would grow pumpkin again. See, there's about 5 of them back here that are that size, and then there's more in the front. And then you've got the fence line, there it is, the east side. A lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. The bushes need to be cut off this fence. The fence lines need to be cleaned up. And then there's some more stuff there. And then this is a great compost place, compost bin. They used to have the trash cans that you burned in there. And then there's the backyard. And then there's some trees had to be cut down. They died, you can tell. There was a time there and Mom didn't water them very much, and they just didn't make it. I really wouldn't put pine trees down here unless you have a lot of money to spend on water. They take a lot of water. And the heat just eats them up in the summertime. It eats them up. So right here's where I'll show you the two double gates that I told you about in the beginning. There's two big double gates there. So a road needs to be cut from there straight back. And then there's a road that comes in front of this rock shed here. And they built this rock shed. And all that needs to be burned and cleaned up. And see, the front fence needs to be cleaned off. And there's peach tree. And then this little awning on the front here is going to have to be redone. That was built in '87. So it was built a little over 10 years, not quite 10 years, from when the house was built. There's the peach tree. And then there's a little area right there that can be cleaned up. I have some irises there that bloom. There's some lantana that grows. Lantana, it's very drought hardy, but it grows everywhere. It'll grow everywhere. It can be evasive if you let it. And then here's a little sage bush, purple. It's got little purple flowers. And we're back to the side. So this is the side of the circle drive. I'm going to bring you on up here and show you I have more sage bushes. Now they're pretty. They're very drought tolerant too. They really do good. You don't have to give them much water, and they'll bloom them purple flowers. And then here's the morning glories. They will bloom. You don't have to give them very much water. You give them water and they'll just bloom. And then you have the circle here, which needs to be cleaned up and done. Something that's going to have to be done with that. So what I'm going to do is break it up in sections and do a section at a time because it's overwhelming. I go out there and I just, okay, I want to begin here. I don't know where to begin. And it's overwhelming. So I'm going to section it off and really discipline myself to do each section at a time until I work my way around. Start off in the front, go along the sides and do the back. And then I'll worry about the outer parts when I get money saved up to get a tractor out there. A tractor man. It's a brick home. It's really nice. And then here's the west side of the backyard. See, that whole fence needs to be cleaned off. That area needs to be done. And then this whole side, which you've seen in the first, all that needs to be cleaned off. There's flower beds that used to be there. Those bushes need to be cleaned off. And then here's the, excuse me, here's the east side. That's the garage windows there. This comes along the east side of the home. And it has a gate down here and it takes you into the backyard. And there you have a peach tree and an apricot tree. The leaves are already turning and falling off. And I use those leaves for mulch. And then all that needs to be done. I fenced off this little area for the dogs because Jazzy likes to chew my hose. And I've lost 3 hoses. I've tried to give her chances. I've reeled it up and she'll take it off. She'll chew my hose. And there she is. There's the Jezebel, Jessie. I adopted her. People that took her before returned her and said they didn't want her, so that should tell you something. And then there's the Nickaloo. You'll get to meet the animals. Then we have some cats. And then here's the front again. We like to decorate that for the holidays. And then I'll end it with showing the mums again. I love those mums. Aren't they pretty? Now these will come back every year. I had one in the other planter, but the rabbits ate it, destroyed it. And then I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just going all crazy. I had switched to my digital phone because my DVC recorder battery, the battery was very low, so. And I will end this with, that's me coming in and closing the garage door. There's a double garage. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and it's going to be nice to see this place finally get cleaned up and a lot of pretty stuff growing and what I'm able to do with it on my own. I'm 62 and I'm retired. I'm retiring. I'm taking my retirement at 62. I've worked all my life, so since I was 14, so I'm ready to kick it and do some work around this place and get things done. And I have a lot of neat before pictures in this video, and I'll have some after pictures as long as I can stick with each section at a time and not get distracted, and I can get this done. Do you think I can get this done? I can get this done. So anyway, I will see you in the next video, and hugs and blessings to you always. Bye.